Welcome to the Be Empowered podcast with your host, Graham Hopkins. My goal is to help you regain your power by bridging the gap between who you think you are right now and who you really are. In simple language, that is like making your childhood dreams come true. This is for those who want to make an impact in their lives but don't know how to get there. Be ensured, when you know and feel connected to your spiritual mind, you master your world.
Natasha, you have overcome in a lot of areas in your life. Mm-hmm. Now, with your NM consulting, you're going to the workforce and you're working with big corporations, which involves everything from luxury brands, big companies, to pharmaceuticals, and you're bringing cultural change, personal branding, communication and presenting skills.
Yeah.
I often laugh at the presenting skills because ever since I've known Natasha, I mean, she's out there doing this presenting like for her work. And when she saw my first videos, she said, I think I need to have a chat to you, Graham. So she's been my coach in kind of helping me present a reasonable video anyhow. And she's going to coach me and get me up to speed on being a interviewer, going down the track. So I often tell people that I'm just winging it, and Natasha's going to come in and kind of brush me up, ain't you, Natasha?
The winging it, when my view is that, Graham, you are one of the world's few people that can genuinely say that you can wing it and know that you can, because you are technically trained and an expert in flying. So frankly, as a trained pilot, you are allowed to wing it, honey.
Thanks,
you wing
Natasha.
it every time from the cockpit, so there we go.
I've just got to translate it over to this business now, but it's fun in the process. So, Natasha, tell us a little bit about promotional grooming, personal impact, presentation skills, excellence. I mean, we met on a course called High Performance, so really what it's all about, isn't it, is raising the bar. It's showing people that they can actually do it themselves. Yeah? Can you tell us a bit more?
And I love the expression raising the bar, because it assumes that the bar is already elevated. And this isn't, everybody is at their level of high performance. We're just at varying stages of reaching our own true potential. And that's how I kind of view what I do. It's not about reaching something that I've predetermined to be the excellent raise the bar piece. Because for me, we evolve, and I'm so not the same person I was 7-10 years ago. I hope that I continue to bring the best of myself then, and I keep evolving it into the future. But also on that point, my view is that, I'm going to live to at least 150. So for me, the future is a long and bright one, and one that's full of excitement and an opportunity and all the things that, life will manifest for me. And I think mindset is at the very core of raising your own bar and being aware of who you are and what you bring to the party already, and actually working off that base. So when I work, it's a true passion for me. And I should add that as well as the NLP, I actually studied with one of very few fellows of image consultancy on the planet. She's a master called Lynn Marks. And I studied with her at the London Image Institute here in the UK, but she's based in America. And Lynn has worked with, top politicians and people from the entertainment world and TV, and and has the most amazing training company for people who want to be image consultants. And it goes far beyond what we see in the tabloids and the media generally, which is all about styling and fashion and how to get your look together and so on. But in the fashion world, and I come from that world, so I speak, with absolute experience and knowledge of that the fashion world is a fabulous world that is going on around us, which helps evolve all of us with how trend and design and how we move on through life, and these kind of stages of kind of how the what's the word I'm looking for? The aesthetic of our planet looks, the man-made aesthetic, if you like. So architecture and interior design and our wardrobes and everything else. So very, very important that it's there and it's tied in with us and how we're evolving. But what I look at and what really personal branding is about, and I use that term, although it's not my own, I'm not entirely comfortable with any of the labels that go with these things, because for me it's about bringing out the best in yourself, but not only so that you look better on the outside, so the appearance piece, which is immeasurably so important because it's our first impression, but it also is our calling card. It's actually the message that we portray to others. It's way beyond a fashion statement. This is about how we package ourselves so that others can see us for the things that are important and entirely crucial for how we wish to be perceived on the planet and perceived by others. So the image consultancy piece that I trained in is at a very high level, and it's very much about working with you as an individual and where you are currently, but also understanding how you wish or need to be perceived by others in order to send the messages that others can unconsciously pick up on and just get you. Because a lot of people I find, through clients that I speak to, or also in training groups where I teach, will bring up that, they've had issues perhaps in the workplace, they've been overlooked for promotions, but they know that they have the skills and experience to take that next level up. It could be that they've not been successful at job interviews, and yet they know on paper, they are the strongest or one of the strongest candidates. But when it gets to interview stage, when people meet, somehow something's not, it's not gelling for them. Something's not coming together. So for me, and it can be, personal life as well. People struggle to meet the right partner or the right type of people, or be invited into certain fields and so on, because potentially it comes down to three things, the ABC. So it's the appearance. It's our behaviour, which can be our non-verbal communication, our body language, which is very much driven by our mindset, okay? And then communication, which comes back to my love of the NLP, which is the linguistics, how we articulate ourselves. And the key with all of that, in a nutshell, is that when you have your appearance, behaviour and communication driven by a positive mindset, it becomes consistent. And once you reach consistency in the way you appear, you behave, and you articulate yourself in every area of your life, because it becomes easy to do that once you've studied to look at who it is that you want to be perceived as, it's a very powerful message that goes out there. And people get you before you've even had to say anything. It takes the pressure off.
Yeah. I hope everybody's writing those three things down, because I have. Appearance, behaviour and communication.
Yeah.
That's great. Here's a question. When I'm doing this show, this podcast,
yeah,
I'm probably only it's only directed at probably 1 or 2% of the population In other words, it's people who have a real desire for truth that would even come to a show like this.
Yeah.
How do you go into the corporate world and teach this to people who really aren't at that stage where they want to change their lives?
Okay, so a fantastic question, because it is, I guess, there's a business, and based on my passion and my desire to share this with as many people as possible, it's my biggest challenge, because you're right. And the question, I think the way you worded it was using that they don't want to change something. And actually, we're back to the conscious and the unconscious. At some point in questioning where I'm with somebody on a one-to-one, it will become absolutely categorically clear that actually they do really care about how they're perceived. And it may not be from a first impression, because some people kind of say, instantly, hey, take me or leave me. I am the way I am. I like to dress this way, so take me or leave me. And it's like, okay, as long as you totally understand that it's a 50-50, people will either take you or, as you say, leave you. Now, when we actually drill down and you start to question all the areas of their life where, in this situation, absolutely, taking or leaving me, it's not a problem. And then we'll move to this situation. And it could be relationships or finding the perfect partner or whatever. Take it or leave it, starts to be slightly questionable. Maybe I don't want it to be at 50-50. And then we move to another area. It's like, okay, so how's the career going or your business going? And, because it doesn't matter whether you're working as an employee or whether you're the entrepreneur or the business owner. Your interaction with others is every day. It's 24/7. It just never flips off, because if it's either you in person or it's your brand, it's your business card that's left with somebody, it's your website, it's your podcasts, it's whatever it is an extension of you communicating with the world around you. So at some point we usually find the Achilles. Where is the place in their life, this person that says, I don't think I need to change, or I don't want to, and I'm quite happy being who I am. It's either any of one of those things, and others. They're not getting the promotion, they didn't get the job that they really wanted, they haven't met the girl or the man of their dreams, they can't, they don't seem to attract the right people. They're stuck, they've kind of got a wardrobe that suited how they were when they felt at their peak, 10, 15 years ago, and they feel their wardrobe stuck and they have no idea how to evolve themselves into looking contemporary but not fashionable or, truly modern and so on. So this is about working with people at a deep level of mindset and who they are, and then helping them wrap themselves in an appropriate and harmonious way that amplifies the message of who they want to appear to others, so that it makes the job of actually communicating the really important stuff, the stuff that powers them and is their passion, becomes easy, because actually they've set the stage, if that makes sense. The stage is set with their costume, and their mindset is almost running the script of who they are and their life's work. So life becomes so much easier, because you actually start to attract people that read those messages and are important to them, and you start to connect in a much more empowered and powerful way. It's amazing.
It's amazing. And this is such a fascinating topic, Natasha. Tell me, if you had a deck of cards.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you assigned NLP to one, high performance coaching to another, and your three things, appearance, behaviour and communication, say, to another card, which would be the ace?
Oh,
which would be the king? Which would be the queen? In other words, when do you pull these things out and use them?
For me, they're also interrelated, but they come under slightly different titles, but they are I don't know how to say it from a scientific point of view, but I'm seeing a kind of, is it a nucleus of cells where there's lots of cells all together and they're evolving together? That's how it feels to me. You know, high performance coaching, which is the most amazing, real kick-ass, but so brilliantly grounded and structured, raising the bar of who you are in every quarter, every level that you need to have that sustainable level of high performance, is in itself an absolute gem. And it raises the awareness and teaches you skills and best practice that you can apply into your life immediately. So the high performance coaching and the program, fabulous. But then high performance in a more general term of raising your bar in your life is something that is multi-dimensional. So when we've got that split of appearance, behaviour and communication, and I love the fact that the three of them are an ABC. I mean, it's kind of telling you that it's a journey. It's it's a layered journey. So just going back as well to your question about what do you do when you're in corporates and you're in a place where people don't even think they want to change these things, or they might not be aware of them. I'd say that essentially what happens is that, I go in under the guise of, the desired outcome, knowing what I do and my experience and expertise. I'm hired to perhaps work with a kick-ass sales team, and we talk about customer experience. So at luxury brand level, I've done a number of, but some fantastic customer experience training, which has been very customized and very much driven to their personal desired outcome for the brand, but working intrinsically with the brand profile and values and beliefs of the brand. And then from that, we've evolved into looking at the appearance side of staff. So people standing on the shop floor, where does the customer experience start with the appearance of people working for the brand in the shop scenario? So it starts with, what do they wear? Their grooming, their level of grooming aligned to the brand profile and its values. Who are the customers that come in? What are their values? Because they're aligned to the brand values. That's why they're loyal customers of the brand. So absolutely personifying that without it becoming robotic and kind of standardized, because the beauty of any interaction is that there is that individuality and the personification of that in the individual, so that you're not, walking into a beautiful store at absolute top luxury and then being met by kind of an andronic, custom, standardization, because that's not what we all want. What drives human interaction is the fact that there is that uniqueness and that individuality. So there's a whole challenge there of how you align it. But what tends to happen is, like that piece of work, I'm introduced to it via their most burning need, which can be, for instance, customer excellence. They're looking at raising the bar of their customers' experience in store, and obviously selling more, and having their customers buy more and expanding the brand and so on. But actually it's all linked, because you can't take away that appearance is absolutely paramount, that how staff then behave and communicate those values and the language that's used is all part of the layering process. So I hope that answers your question, but it's often not the obvious door opening. I go in through another door and then layer and bring awareness to the fuller picture in the work that I'm doing with them for their desired outcome, and then it usually expands into a much bigger brief.
Yeah. Let's wrap this up, Natasha, by talking about awareness. I've done 2 coaching courses. I've done one with you called High Performance Coaching, and I've done Heart Intelligence coaching. And both of those, their main or number one thing is clarity of mind.
Yeah.
So today we've been talking a lot about the mind. What's a good definition, or what's a tip that you can give everyone out there in regarding how important clarity of mind is?
It's everything. It's and if I may, I'm going to link it back to the perception of how hypnosis takes over your mind and you're not in control. See, for me, actually being able to relax and be present and take in everything around you, which is the first level almost of actually relaxing and being aware of, what's outside of your body and not being driven from inside, is the key to actually being fully awake. It's presence, it's awareness, it's conscious awareness. For me, it's actually thinking on purpose about where you are in a given moment so that you can purposefully and on purpose make the best choice for you to operate at your highest self. So outside of that, there's so much that you can then do in looking at clarity of the future and where you're going and that whole planning process of clarity. But for me, that awareness starts in the moment, and being able to harness that is something that I feel is the most powerful and the most empowering skill that you can practice. And everyone can do it, but being able to do it sustainably takes practice, because you've got to keep reminding yourself consciously to do it in the early stages. So for me, it's absolutely the number one, because once you become consciously aware in every moment that you have a choice of how you wish to be perceived, how you wish to respond, how you react to situations, that if you are present, you can then do that to your highest self. Your life changes. Your life changes to the most amazing place it can be.
So when we first met, Natasha, I was writing my book that is now published on Amazon. That's called The Manifesto of Your Inspirational Mind.
Yeah.
Natasha was probably the first person to read the script outside of my immediate family. And you can tell us what you thought in reading that, but the thing that I want to kind of really hone in on is, how does this, what's this got to do with your inspirational mind? All that we've been talking about, connecting with your inspirational mind. How's that different from what people know as their mind?
I think it's a tough one to describe, other than how it feels to you and how it manifests in your life, in your own personal experience. For me, I think doing my best to try and put myself back in who I was a few years ago. I was still as empowered as I was, with a very high level of intuition that did drive me a lot. And the skills and understanding of that I had around the ABC and how important that is to get people to get you and for you to be able to engage at a much higher level. The inspiration really for me comes from the fact that the moment you start moving towards this, you start unlocking areas of your mind you didn't know existed. And for me, that's the inspiration, is that it lifts, it opens up.
So would you say that awareness helps you in this area?
Yeah, very much so. The awareness is almost, working to a much more high level of conscious awareness, which is key in what I've just been talking about and the work that I do, is the journey between where many of your viewers might be right now and where I've certainly gone past just the rim, and I know you have too, of that inspirational life that is just indescribable until you actually sense it with your own senses and you start to see and feel the effects of lifting those lids. It's like however high the sky is, there's something above that actually, when you start popping open these lids, it's like a light well of light you didn't even know existed. It's beyond sunlight. It's beyond the clarity of a sunny day. It's inspirational.
So would you say that it's senses beyond the physical 5 senses that we're normally feeling?
Yeah. 5 senses is where we believe multisensory exists, and it goes far beyond that. If I can just give you a quick example, I worked on a very high level of intuition for many, many years, but it was within an environment of, working in a job and being fearful of losing my job, or the golden handcuffs, as we've sort of come to call them, and moving out of that and doing something else and bringing up a young family, and fear was always in the back of everything I was doing. And I don't fear. I don't know what I fear anymore, even just thinking about it. One of the big phobia cures that I had done with me, and Dr. Richard Bandler performed this on me at a big event with many people watching. I was a quivering wreck around snakes, and literally I was on stage and I was falling apart just knowing that a snake was coming into the room, and it was probably a good 20 meters away. And I sat on stage, bawling my eyes out and shaking, and with Dr. Bandler's hand on me, literally as in NLP, anchoring me to a more resourceful state, until I actually, later on that day, went upstairs to where the snake was and actually was in the room with the snake, and it was fine. And I've gone on to help people with tarantulas and all sorts. So it's a state of mind that I know can be altered with the tools to do that. And everyone has the ability to reprogram themselves and to find this enlightened and inspirational state within their brains. And it is something that you might need help with. Lots of us read self-help books, and we'll pick up, and they'll pick your book up and they'll read it and they'll go, Jesus, that was just amazing. And wow, that really resonates with me. But actually it's putting this into practice and being purposefully, consciously aware that you are taking the steps, however small, to bring it into your life and practice a different regime, a different routine, and make it part of your life. And it starts to amplify. It's a manifesting and self-developing and evolving thing that then becomes part of you, and you grow it, and it's amazing.
So what we've been talking about today is the transformation of our mind. And Natasha, I'd like to thank you so much. It's such a fascinating topic, and love to have you again sometime.
I would love to be back on. It would be fabulous. So really enjoyed being here.
Yeah. I just got to ask the audience if they could do me a big favour. If they could leave a review on iTunes, that would be huge, because this is a new podcast we're putting out there, and the more people leave a review, the ratings will increase, and it'll get a wider coverage to a wider audience. So that's what we're asking people to do at this stage. It would be really, really good. If you'd like to hear more about what Natasha and I have been talking about today, like feeling more connected, feeling worthy, being in the flow, and Natasha's mentioned intuition a lot. You can always go to Amazon and download my book. Once again, it's called The Manifesto of Your Inspirational Mind. And if you want a free download, you can go to my website, www.beempoweredgroup.com, and there you'll find a free download called Know Your True Value and Worth. Natasha, it's been fantastic. On behalf of Natasha and myself, your host Graham Hopkins, we wish you a wonderful future of freedom, joy, and peace of heart. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to the Be Empowered podcast. For more on regaining your power by bridging that gap between who you think you are right now and who you really are, go to www.beempoweredgroup.com and enter your name and email address to receive a free ebook and get notified of any upcoming podcasts. Remember, when you know and feel connected to your spiritual mind, you master your world. Changing your energy transforms your life.